Arsenal are out of the Champions League. Again. No Premier League title either. The dream season? Crushed. So now it's up to me. I'm rebuilding Arsenal in Football Manager, and we're not stopping until we win the Champions League and bring it home to North London, and also lift another Premier League trophy too. There's no season cap, no excuses, just a mission. And a little fun fact, Arsenal were the first ever club to ever go a whole Premier League season unbeaten. Can we build in the Invincibles? But this time, also include Europe. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let's get into it. So then, this is going to be Arsenal inside of Football Manager. Now, we all know Arsenal. They are one of England's biggest clubs and one of the best teams in the Premier League. Unfortunately, this year, they were in for a Premier League title win. It didn't really work out. They were looking quite strong in the Champions League, couldn't quite get the job done either, and Arteta is left clueless once again. But this is where I'm going to step in because they are this close to winning one of those major trophies, and I think a few little decisions going, other ways, and maybe a couple of new people coming into the team, we are going to be golden to get the job done. So there is no season cap on this. This video could end after 1 season, 10, 6, 7, 8, 9. You know what I'm trying to say. It can end whenever we win all the trophies. So in terms of an actual club, you're nearly talking perfect reputation, perfect training, perfect youth. So this is not a rebuild to turn a club from low league to high league. This is a rebuild to turn a good club into an elite club. That's what we're trying to do. Now, in terms of the history as a club, let's not get things twisted, okay? They have won 13 Premier League titles. They've won a European Cup, 1 Europa League, 14 FA Cups, 2 Carabao Cups, and 17 English Community Shields. But today, we add a UCL and we add a minimum of 1 Premier League. Remember, we have to win both for the video to be completed. Now, when you look at this team, okay, firstly, you can see some of the players they've got already, just down the bottom right here. Martin Odegaard, Gabriel Jesus, Declan Rice, very, very good in the Champions League this year. Lewis Skelly, great in real life, pretty bad in the game, I will be honest, from my personal experience. Now, we are going to be playing my Arteta Monster Tactic. You can go and get that from the main channel and also get all of these wonderful perks over on the Patreon, which will include all of my rebuild save files and all of my tactics. And also, there's 20% off this month, and we have just announced a £1,000 PayPal giveaway split between 10 winners. So 10 lucky people get to win £100, which will cover you for the next FM and a little cheeky takeaway. There you go, courtesy of me. But let's go over and talk about what actually happens, what we can expect in this tactic. So this tactic is replicated around Arteta in real life. Now, when you look at this team on paper, you think, cool, you're in for a treat, Josh, and we are in for a treat because we have got a relatively good team on paper, but there are areas of this team that I think could be better. And the first one, which is a real big conversational point, is this one. Jesus is not a bad player in the game, but he's okay in real life, but he's not that good in my opinion, and they do need an actual bagsman, a serious goal scorer, so that is where we are going to go and spend our money in the first official transfer window, which is for us the second one, because I don't spend any money in the first season. So this is going to be a sort of entry season. We might even see, like Arteta got this year, a second sort of place vibe, Champions League around that sort of area as well. You go down to the wingers. I mean, you got Martinelli and Saka. A lot of people question Martinelli in real life, and also sometimes Saka. I think they're really good players, and I know in Football Manager, they are absolutely immaculate. You've then got the Arsenal fans' dreams. You have got Martin Odegaard. Everyone loves him, and he is a great player who I thought was a little bit older, but honestly, world-class star Premier League player, and happily, we can have him now without having to spend big money to get him, like we did try to do at Leipzig last year. We look at the likes of Kai Havertz again, another player that gets bantered. I feel like a lot of Arsenal players do get a lot of sticks, so yeah. Let's leave the Arsenal slander behind. Can we do that? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. But Kai Havertz is another player who will play a key role in this rebuild, as will Declan Rice. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to say it. I don't like the wing-backs. I'm not a fan of Zinchenko. I'm not a fan of Ben White. I'm going to say it right off the bat, get my feelings out there. Now, we have got options, okay? We've got Timber, who can play right back. We've got Tomiyasu. We've also got the likes of Caliafori. We've also got Kiwar, so you say that. Tierney, he can go as soon as a club wants him. The centre-backs, we're golden. We've got Gabriel and Saliba, some of the Premier League's finest. Raya is what I like to call a will get the job done goalkeeper. He will get the job done to a certain degree, but I think when you start to see like a Costa, Trubin, Restes in this game come on the market, Raya's going to be going to another team. We will get a new goalkeeper in. But I mean, apart from that, the main focus is obviously the trophies. But alongside of that, goalkeeper, striker, new wing-backs, in my opinion. That's where we need to go and spend the money, because the midfield's incredible, wingers are incredible. Now, what we're going to do with Jesus, I don't know, because he's a lot of money to have sat around on the bench. And when we get a striker in, who, by the way, the candidates are Sesko and Victor Gyökeres and Victor Osimhen are the three that I'm bearing in mind. I don't know what we're going to do with Jesus, because I'm going to lock that striker in the position, because I don't really want Jesus being part of the plans. Of course, we also have got Sambi Lokonga coming back next season. Reece Nelson, who is so good for me in this game, but will he get into the team when you've got Saka there? I'm not too sure. Nuno Tavares, and also Vieira, who I feel like a lot of people forget actually exists. So we have got a lot of players obviously coming back. We've got 2 loanee players as well. Raheem Sterling, I won't be signing that contract to make that permanent. And also Neto, I don't think no, I won't make that permanent either. So we're quite calm, to be honest, in terms of the players, the contract situation. And we are going to be playing in, 5 competitions: Prem, Friendly Cup, Champions League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup. And they are predicting a finish for us of around about 3rd place, which I don't think is too unfair, because obviously no one banked on Man City having the off-season they've had this year, so that's actually quite fair. But in terms of my expectation for Season 1, I would at minimum want a top 4 finish, at minimum want to see us win at least one of these trophies here, the FA or Carabao Cup, and a minimum of the semi-final of the Champions League, because I think we can get there. The Friendly Cup, I couldn't care about, to be honest, but I mean, genuinely, that's the expectation. Finance-wise, if you are playing back home, you would have had £77 million to spend. There is a bit of net debt and transfer debt that I will try and chip away at, but my aim today is to win trophies, not to save pennies. Right then, a big improvement on my expectation in the Premier League. Now, I say a big improvement, it's not a big improvement. I said anywhere in the top 4, and we have done that, and we are 1 point off actually winning the Prem. And who won it? The team that did it in real life, Liverpool. Absolutely league of their own. Arne Slot has come in and been nothing short of an absolute joy to watch. I will be honest, you've got to just accept it sometimes. Whether you support Liverpool or not, they've been absolutely flying. We can all go and see one good thing here. Bukayo Saka is doing his thing. The joint second most player of the matches. Apart from that, and also Raya being in there, and Martinelli, let's give him credit as well. We're really lacking in the goal scoring sense, which is almost like it's realistic. We do not have a goal scorer. Our top goal scorer is down in 7th place, where it is actually going to be Jesus and Bukayo Saka, and that is simply not good enough. So whatever money we get will be prioritised on getting a striker, because that exactly is where our weakness is. Now, money-wise, we have got a budget of 145 million, so that can get us Gyökeres, Sesko, Osimhen. It can get us one of them players, and honestly, I'm eyeing up Sesko, because I think he'd work in this team quite well. But what else did we go and win? 3-2-1. It's not bad, it's not great. I mean, we're going to win the Friendly Cup 9-1. I don't really care. This is quite impressive, although we didn't win one, which is what I actually demanded. We lose to Liverpool again. This is getting a bit boring now. Liverpool come up pretty clutch in the final, a 2-0 win, and in the Carabao Cup, Man City too strong on the day, where if we would have beaten them, I'm pretty sure we could have gone through and beat, we could have beat Bournemouth in the final. The Champions League isn't horrific. Oh, wow. Okay, that doesn't feel nice. Sorry, Arsenal fans, it's PTSD. Luckily, it wasn't that... I mean, yeah, I don't like saying that at all. 6-1. 6-1 is quite the thumping. Obviously, we are going to get past a couple of teams. Napoli being 1-4-1. And also, we are going to get past Dortmund 2-1. So, a couple of easier fixtures. And it ended in humiliation by Real Madrid. Where have we seen that before? This is all too true. As, Liverpool taking the Premier League. We lost to Liverpool again in the Cup, and the Champions League. It's all too much, and I don't even support Arsenal. I'm sorry for anyone getting flashbacks. I am very, very sorry. But let's see what happened with the players, because this is what I mean, okay? Now, this is no slander on Jesus, because he is a good player in his own sense. But he is not really he's actually not scoring as many as Saka. He's scoring a few more than Martinelli, but not exactly loads more. We are missing a bagsman. And that's as simple as that. That is the issue with Arsenal. They are missing a proven bagsman striker. Like United, pretty much the same boat. But I will say the players around have bailed us out and really give us a good season. Some good average ratings here. Kai Havertz has a stellar season. Moreno has 14 goal contributions. The man who they've been lumping up front occasionally is getting the job done. I mean, Sterling even had a good season. No, you're not staying. Vieira, out on loan, had a 24 goal contribution season across all competitions, and a lot of it being done in the league. Trossard 2 and 5 as well. It's not bad. Jorginho 1 and 5, but there are still areas to improve on this team. You know, as I mentioned last season, I'm aware of the challenge at the club. We're talking about potentially a 5 signing change. When you factor in new goalkeeper, 2 new wing-backs, inverted wing-backs, so you've got to sign certain people, a striker, that's 4 people, and then you look at the likes of, you know, your midfield, you've got Declan Rice, you've then got Jorginho, you've got Thomas, you've got people who I might look to move on to bring in younger talent. So this rebuild is actually a lot more sort of in-depth than what some may say. So let's get into our first official transfer window with a total budget of 145 million. And I'll say this right now, right clear, I will spend every penny on a striker if I have to. If I've got money left over, expect the unexpected. Signing 1 is going to be Benjamin Sesko. Now, we actually brought him in for 87 million, which meant we still had money to play with, and I did use that money, so we've got another big boy signing coming up shortly. He comes in and scores 21 goals out of 37 appearances. So this is a man that will score your goals. He has got a bit of everything you want for a striker. He's got the pace, he's got the finishing, he's got the composure, he's young, he still can grow as a player, he's fairly determined, and once again, he's a player who we can have now and hopefully develop into a killer. A killer instinct, someone who can win a UCL, win us a Premier League, and you know what? I don't think we need to look anywhere else. Sesko is the man for the job. And we then go and spend quite a fair bit of money on Camavinga. Now, a lot of it was done in installments, but I have made this my spend season, where we are going to spend most of the money compared to the rest. We spent 127 million, but we got back 26 goal contributions, which is nuts. You compare what he's done and what Sesko have done together as a joint combination, there's a very good chance we can win the Premier League in Season 2, because we have added 2 absolute machines into the team. This guy is one of the best well-rounded midfielders in the game at age 22. A world-class midfield player, great physically, great mentally, great technically. He is the complete package. His only downside, transfer value and weekly wage. But in this life, you pay for what you get. And it's as simple as that. And I guess with Camavinga, it's a very small bonus as well, but he can also cover in an inverted wing-back. So if we need it, he's going to be there. And Camavinga played a vital role in this Community Shield final. Our first chance to win a bit of silverware, a real one, not the friendly cup. And he is going to go through Camavinga, and it's partly down the middle, but it gets past Alisson, and we are going to take the lead inside of 4 minutes. Thomas Partey into Ben White, obviously playing in that inverted role. Ball over the top into Saka. It's a little bit of a howler here, as it is going to be Camavinga making it 2 inside of 30 minutes in his first competitive fixture for the Gunners, and we are going to go again. Ben White into Camavinga, plenty of space on the ball, into Saka, into Sesko, good challenge, but Camavinga goes again into Sesko. Camavinga, 2 goals and an assist, a Sesko goal as well, and Liverpool were nowhere near their usual best. Nowhere near. The only thing they could do was a goal here, which was some goal, I will be honest, from McAllister, but we win 3-1. I'll be honest, the Champions League, we didn't really improve. As you can see, we are going to lose in the Champions League quarter-final second leg. It was so close this time, 3-2. But Madrid, they're the better team over 2 legs. The FA Cup, we will never talk about on this channel again. I'm not even going to read out the scoreline. We are off to Wembley again for the Carabao Cup, this time against Man City. So it's not going to be an easy final, but when you got Odegaard, little cut in there, absolutely beautiful. A 1-0 lead inside of 14 minutes. And do you know what? Unfortunately, Man City, a player who I didn't think would actually go to City, in Jarrod Bowen, I don't even know how that's gone in, but it's one of the best finishers I have ever seen. Phil Foden can do miracles like that sometimes, and he's the only man that can make that happen. But we are going to get back into the lead. A ball over the top from Sesko into Camavinga, and it is going to be a 2-1 advantage. And just like the previous final we saw, we are going to go and win a comfortable and brilliant 3-1 final. And this time, none other than Zinchenko. Premier League, we have fallen down a place, and not only a place, but we've actually fallen down a ton of points. We're actually nowhere near competitive with Tottenham, who actually win the league, which is quite interesting. Very, very interesting. But Benjamin Sesko has come in and stamped his mark. 21 goals, the second top goal scorer. David Raya is still going to be the third top most clean sheets, and Camavinga is going to be your top assister. So we have solved the goal scoring issue. We didn't really have an assisting issue because the players were playing quite well, but it's still nowhere near enough. Now, so far, we have added 2 trophies to the cabinet. I mean, a Carabao Cup, a Community Shield, and if you want to throw in the Friendly Cup, you can. I personally am pretty 50-50 on that, but I mean, it's an okay season for trophies, as we have 1-2, but they're not the trophies we're after at the end of the day. Now, the main thing at this part of the video is to just make sure we're in the top 4, because if we're not in the top 4, that season basically becomes useless, because the Europa League means absolutely nothing for us. So as long as we are in the top 4, the dream is still alive. And as I said, we locked in Sesko 30-4. We went from a complete forward support to a complete forward attack, and he still doesn't get into the first team. So, and do you know what? To be fair to Jesus, for anyone worried about him not playing any games, he does. 23 goal contributions. Martinelli has a pretty quiet season. Saka has a very good season, actually, with 30 goal contributions. Camavinga has a ridiculous season. So does Odegaard. And I mean, 30 goals from Sesko, by the way, is some debut season. 5-5 for Zinchenko. Kai Havertz 2-3. Pretty quiet. He's asking to leave. And honestly, if any club puts up the money, I might let him go, because he is never going to match what Camavinga and Odegaard can do together. That's just a harsh reality. So, I mean, looking at this team right now on paper, firstly, the budget. We will go and see. We've got a smaller budget, understandably, and I think we might have a no-signing season, potentially, unless we can get a really good inverted wing-back on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. I don't feel like we're going to make any signings, because we spent big last season, and I think we need to let the team gel right now. Don't get me wrong, this isn't a horrific season. We've won 2 trophies, but we just want to give the team time to mould, time to gel, and get the finances back on track, because I'm not being funny, we still have got quite a fair bit of net debt that I've got to deal with. So unless there is something that is going to be what I class as complete rebuild changing, I won't make the signing. But one signing I've actually noticed I have got to do is a backup goalkeeper. So, yeah, we are going to spend some. And we kept it way within our spending, okay? We kept it very, very sensible. Instead of signing a backup, we actually popped Costa's release clause of 44 million. Now, he doesn't get a game over Raya, and he was registered. I know I've made that mistake before. He didn't play a game, so that's quite interesting. But I will say, next season, I'll lock him in if he doesn't get game time, because I'm not spending that money for him not to play. But what I will say is that is our goalkeeper situation sorted, because when Raya starts to decline, Costa can go right in. In fact, I'll say it now, he is going in from next year. So this is our new goalkeeper. For the price tag, it sounds a lot of money, but it's really not for a leading quality goalkeeper who's 26, which is very young for a goalkeeper in the modern game, and a proven FM player as well. You know, he's a great FM signing. So I do think in terms of signing someone on a sensible basis, he made the most sense. And you know what? What I do love to see is winning the Premier League, and it is fair play to David Raya. Maybe that pressure of a new goalkeeper come in made him perform even better. 24 clean sheets. Odegaard, 21 assists. Martinelli, 13. Gabriel Jesus. Yeah. Gabriel Jesus, you top goal scorer. I think Sesko had a big injury, and Jesus has gone, Josh, do you know what you've just done? You've made yourself look stupid, because Jesus has come in and scored the most out of anybody in the Premier League. Now, I don't know how long the Sesko injury was, but Jesus has taken full advantage, and I literally can't complain. So, do you know what? Fair play. I'm sorry, Jesus, more like Jesus. We also do win the FA Cup final. It was a very boring game against Burnley, so hence why I'm not showing the highlights. It was a 1-0 win very, very early on into the game, but I mean, we do also get past Liverpool, which I'm going to say, because we earned our way to the final. Yes, it's an easy final, but we earned our way there, and we took the prize that we worked hard for. We deserve that. We don't deserve, well, we do deserve, because it happened, is a round of 16 exit in the Champions League against Celtic. Celtic, that is really not acceptable. Now, in terms of the Champions League, we're one of the strongest teams in the world. We have won 7 games out of 8, beating Real Madrid, Juventus, City, Ajax, a point against Nice, but we can't beat Celtic. Yeah, you explain that one, because I know I can't. But the other competition was the Carabao Cup, where we do make it to the final. Sadly, Chelsea, a little bit too strong on the day. We are going to lose 3-2. But that is one thing ticked off the bucket list. We are now Premier League champions once again. And of all players that you'd probably be expecting to thank, would you have had Jesus on there? I personally wouldn't, but he's come in, he's done his thing, and do you know what? Sesko only played 3 games. Now, he obviously was injured, which is, it is what it is at the end of the day. It's a really, really poor season, and we've got to move on from that. Jesus with 46 goal contributions. The guy is really coming up clutch. 13 and 23 for Martinelli. Saka 31 and 15, who is now the perfect man. 5 out of 5, ridiculously talented, and will never be replaced. 10 and 10 for Camavinga. Odegaard with 46 goal contributions. Now, that sometimes looks a little bit stat padded because this is across all competitions, and when you make it to the final of both of these cups, you can stat pad quite hard. So in the Premier League, let's just look at that because that's the more realistic one. 21 assists is still ridiculous, so let's not accuse him of stat padding because he has just had a really good season. 8 and 2 coming in for Kai Havertz, a little bit better. 2 goals for Nelson, 5 assists for Vieira, 3 goals for Sesko. Is not great, but I'm not going to slate the man for being injured. And you know what? That's quite a funny feeling, because I thought the big issue was not having a striker that was ready at the club. But the one time we win the Premier League was using the man that already existed at the club. So yeah, how about that for mixing up the script a little bit, huh? Now, in terms of where we go from here, I still stick to my guns. We do need new wing-backs, in my opinion, and I think that is where we're going to spend our money of 39 million. Cue the next window. And we have got our first outgoing. It is going to be Trossard. Now, he come in, didn't really do too much. He's played a few games, but not really delivered much in return. And we have somehow turned a profit on this as well. We spent 23.5 million. He goes for 24.5. So he is going to get a move to Real Sociedad, where he does play quite well. Don't get me wrong. He's not a bad player, but he's not going to get game time at this current stage. And the same can be said for Jorginho, again a player that has been a very, very reputable player over in England now for Chelsea and also for Arsenal. We spend 12 million, we're not going to get it back. We do let him go on the free, but we're going to free up the wage that he was demanding, and at the end of the day, he's a man who is now 35. It's better to let him go and just let him breathe. But that is the no transfer signing. The no window signing. We have signed no players because I thought for financial sense, let's do it. And to help the finances, obviously we've offloaded 2 players, one generating 25 million, one generating nothing but freeing up wage, because we have got more than enough to work with. Now, this is a gamble for any manager, because if I now show you the competition screen and we have won nothing and we're out of the top 4, I've failed the rebuild. So it's a big gamble, but we made this gamble in the previous rebuild, if you know, you know, and it worked very, very well. So is it going to benefit me letting the players gel, adding no new faces for a year? Let's go and see. Well, an FA Cup final against Wrexham, and I'm going to be honest, no slander to Wrexham, but this was one of the easiest finals I have played because they were gifting me goals for fun. A great goal from Camavinga inside of 1 minute, and the second goal is going to be the winning goal, as we are going to go and get this game done in the 62nd minute with Martinelli down the left, into right. It would have been a penalty, never mind though, Ben White gets the goal instead. We are also going to lift the Community Shield again, meaning that is now 2 trophies across the time we've been playing, this time a 3-1 win over Aston Villa. Off to Wembley again, this time against Liverpool, so much harder opposition, and Liverpool were not an easy team to play. Let me tell you that, as we are going to see Stefan Bajcetic actually go alone and get quite lucky, but he is going to make it 1-0 in 66 minutes, but 10 minutes after, Odegaard is going to find Saliba, plenty of patience on the ball, into an inverted Ben White, into Bukayo Saka through one-on-one, and that is going to be an equaliser and a big goal. And do you know what? We find time to go and get the winner. The 90th minute, the last bit of the game, the last kick of the game. Declan Rice into Saka, back inside, Camavinga. What a boy. The Champions League is significantly better. We are now going to get all the way through to the semis, where sadly, we just can't get into a final. Bayern, too strong on the day. The Premier League, we're going to go back to back in. So having that break of transfers actually was quite a good thing, because now we're seeing Camavinga and Jesus again. Sesko not getting a lot of game time. Now, I said I was going to lock him in, and I did for the first season. Then I thought he could compete naturally, but maybe we've got to lock him in. But then I'm doing Jesus over by pushing him out when he's playing so well, which I can't do. Odegaard and Martinelli, the top assisters, and Costa is going to have the most clean sheets. So the new goalkeeper that has been brought in for his first real season, because let's not forget he didn't play a single game last year, has kept 23 clean. I mean, he's done everything. He's done such a good job, and as seasons go, it's a quadruple winning season. But the trophy we need to complete this video is the Champions League, which we haven't won. So we've got to keep pushing until we do win that trophy. Now, we're going to take a couple of seconds here to look at what's going on with the team, because every signing we have made, apart from, 11 and 2 from Sesko, how many games is he getting in the Premier League? 17, so he's getting a fair few. Camavinga has been one of the best signings I have ever made in a rebuild. Ever made. He's been absolutely sensational. Consistency across the board, 34 and 18, Saka with 40 goal contributions, Martinelli 32 and 26, Jesus 32 and 18, you've got Saliba with 10 goals from my set pieces, make sure you go and get them. Ben White with 15 goal contributions. I mean, on the bench, you've got Kai Havertz 11 and 5, Sesko 11 and 2. I mean, you've got a couple of 2 and 2s here. Everyone's chipping in, but where do we go from here? What do we need to change to win a Champions League? And I go back to the wing-backs. Now, Ben White this season is done enough to not get scrutinised at all. Caliafori, he's done okay, but I still think, despite having good seasons, there are better options on the market. In terms of players that need to be offloaded, we're going to run through the list. Number 1, Zinchenko. I want him gone as soon as possible. Kieran Tierney, I've tried to let him go from season 1. I want him gone. Moreno, I want him gone as well. Tomiyasu, I'm on the fence about. Nelson, I like him, but he's not performing that well. He can go. Timber, he can go. We're also going to have Partey, he definitely can go. And this man, who has been looking okay in real life, just isn't good in Football Manager, so he can also go. So we are going to have a significant turnaround in squad at some point of this rebuild. And I've got to time it right, because that season, if we can sell the names I've just said, we're going to have a squad overhaul, and it will take a year of gelling and bonding and getting used to each other for that team to even go back to the way that it was. So it's one big gamble, but I just don't rebuild a club for me. I rebuild it for you over on the Patreon, where you can pick up the file, have a ton of fun, so I always bear that in mind. Apart from that, I think our front three are electric. You can have the argument we need better backup wingers, and I think that's not even really an argument. You've got Nelson and Vieira. Yeah, we need better backup wingers. Strikers we're covered for. Midfielders, again, the argument can be made we need better rotation. Centre-backs, you can have an argument for a lot of positions that we need to have better backups. So that is why we are going to have a lot of faces going out, hopefully, and a lot of new faces coming in. So let's get into the next transfer window. We have got a budget of 80, more than that, 112 million. So we're back into the big boy budgets. Can big boy budgets make big boy decisions? Right then, it was not an expected outgoing, huh? Because he's been such a good player, but I am going to bring my Ruben Amorim side into the rebuild, in brackets being stubborn, because this was not the plan for Jesus to win me the Champions League, and I'm being stubborn. And when a club come in and offer £70 million for Jesus, you say, do you know what? I'll send him first class. And he is going to go for 69 million. We profit quite a fair bit. And now the limelight, it goes on Big Ben. only other player that we can really let go of is going to be Skelly. He is going to be going to Newcastle. He goes for 6.7 million. He plays a few games, doesn't really do too much. Again, ridiculous in real life. In the game, pretty average. Big on two players. Number one signing is going to be a pre-built centre-back that has played for clubs that I will describe as big Champions League teams. Real Madrid, Juve, AC Milan. These are teams that you have to be a certain calibre to get into, and I think this is a signing that is not one for the future, but one for the current. I think this man can win me a Champions League. He can cover two positions. He's quick, got great marking, great tackling, great heading, great teamwork, great anticipation. He's just an elite centre-back who I rarely get a chance to sign, so when the option comes available, I'm going to take it. And to go with him, who is it going to be? It is going to be none other than João Pedro from Brighton for 90 million. Now, Josh, why would you spend 90 million on João Pedro? And it's a good question, but I will explain it. 23 goal contributions is my first explanation. My second one would be the man can play in every position that we might need. He can play in 4 positions: left mid, right mid, centrally, striker, and he has got the attributes to play every single role. He has got the physical stats, the acceleration, the pace, the dribbling to play as a winger. He has got the finishing, the composure to play as a striker. He's got the passing and also pretty decent technique to play as an AM. So this guy will be a great fill-in player for when maybe someone's out of form. He can jump in. And yes, there's a lot of money, but we signed from an England team. You're going to spend money. It's how football works. And because we did offload, Jesus and Skelly, we had to put the money somewhere. And it seemed like they're not similar players. I don't want to say that, but it seems like we've got a younger and better version of Jesus. Kind of. This is going to be what I was saying. When there is a big outgoing of a player, and we're only talking about one player here, it can shift up the league, and it has done. We are now going to be in 4th place, so we have got Champions League football again, if we do need it, unless we've won it this season. But this is the shift-up season, which I was expecting, and, we're going to deal with it at the end of the day. We might not win a single trophy this year, but I believe what I done was for the better of the club, and I hope we can use my very stubborn ways and it pays off, because I've made a Ruben Amorim move is what I have done. Martin Odegaard, 11 assists. Costa the most clean sheets. João Pedro, 7.23. But I tell you something now. I'll feel a lot nicer if we win one trophy. And I don't care what it is. But the Champions League, we are going to take a step back in. So don't worry, the video has not ended just yet, because we still need to win the Champions League. And we still haven't done the full transition of the players that I want out to the players that I want in. So this trophy, it might be coming, but it might take a long while. Oh yeah, this sort of off-season might be an off-season quarter-final exit against Villa. Not pretty. Runners-up in the Community Shield against Liverpool 2-0. No disrespect to Liverpool, because they're a great team, but we would be looking quite comfortable in that. I thought we might have won it. But we are off to Wembley against Liverpool again, and a chance for redemption and a chance to win a trophy as João Pedro replaces Martinelli on the left, and Sesko is going to go through and make it 1-0 inside of 68 minutes. This is exactly what I want to see. Sesko being the main man up front, the star man, the goal scorer, the man that everyone turns to, and this time that is going to be Kai Havertz, who gets quite lucky with the rebound, but he's in the right areas. He deserves the reward. And Liverpool, all they can do is offer a pointless and worthless consolation goal around about the 84th minute. Yeah, not on our level. Well, not on our level. They're probably above us. So, I mean, yeah, they are on our level. But I will say it was the season I was expecting. I said it before we even made the signing, so it's not an excuse. We have still won a Carabao Cup, which is a small something to take home. I will take it. And we have, luckily, still got a very, very good budget of 224 million. So, our best budget yet, to be honest with you, with one of our worst seasons. Seasons? I'm thinking about cooking. One of our worst seasons. So, let me know how you think that happened, because we've got a fair bit of longer to spend. I will check the owners, actually, at some point. But I look at this right now, and again, I have tried every year to bring in new wing-backs, but there's none that really take my fancy. There's none that really were affordable, and I'm leaving it to the point where I feel I'm not signing someone for the sake of it. I want to sign someone because I think, do you know what? That is a clear improvement. And hopefully they come around soon, because we are going to need to try and improve that area, as I keep saying. Apart from that, man, I mean, our centre-backs are incredible. You've now got Saliba, Gabriel, you've got Kalulu, you've got Caliafori. You know, you've got really good options here. The midfield's good, but I still think there is a lot of room for improvement. You know, you look at the team, so let's actually put in what happened. So you got Sesko here, you've actually got Martinelli, funny enough, being benched now, 4 and 6 from him, as João Pedro comes in with 25 and 19, Sesko 23 and 8, 11 and 11 for Camavinga, Saka 13 and 11, Odegaard 7 and 18, 17 and 3 from King Kai up front. I mean, 7 and 2 for Nelson. We like to see that. This is now a club that is, or a team that is good enough to win stuff, but we just got to keep improving the backup players. So it's quite a leisurely paced rebuild, to be honest. But again, the dream is to improve the wing back. So I'll come back to you with some transfers, but I just hope we can improve what I need to improve. And we are going to welcome in our first new signing of 3, and all of them are defenders. So the first one is going to be Zabrani, coming in from Bournemouth for 70 million. Now, he is not a backup player, but he's a squad player. Not in the sense of, like, he only plays cup games, but we have now got a backline that can rotate, is what I'm trying to say. So he's not a squad or rotation player, but he also won't play 34 games a season. But what a centre-back to have in that situation, because he is a leading Premier League player, an elite centre-back that has played for Bournemouth now for close to 170 games. A load of experience in England. Is he going to win me a Champions League? That is up for you guys to decide. Well, and the game to decide, really. I think yes. I really do. I said everyone was a defender. I told a little white lie. I forgot about this man. We are going to welcome in Sousa. Now, this solves another issue for us, okay? Because again, doesn't play a ton of games. He comes in for a grand total of 49 million, but he is a player that is just not just there in a bad way, but he can fill in for these players like an Odegaard, like a Camavinga, when he is needed to. So he's not guaranteed loads and loads of games, but instead of having a Vieira who is quite on the decline, you now look to the bench, you've got an exciting Sousa. Ready to roll, ready to play. That's what it's about. And one incredible gamble. An incredible gamble for me, and that is going to be spending 58 million on Yan Couto. 2 goals and 3 assists. Now, why is it a gamble? 1, he's on the older side. 2, is it an improvement on our option in Ben White? Some would say no. Defensively, he isn't. Attacking-wise, he is. And I am going down the let's go more attacking side quite a fair bit for the upcoming seasons. And I'm going to take a risk with our right back because I think we're quite defensively sound anyway. We can almost afford to have one of our wing backs be a little bit more of an attacking man compared to the other player on the other side. And I think someone like Yan Couto is such a good player going forwards that maybe just going down that different approach might pull us over the line, potentially, or it will go the other way. It is a gamble, but in football, there's 2 things you got to do. Take risks and gamble. That's what we're going to do. And it has paid off for the Premier League at bare minimum. Now, we might have won an FA Cup, a Champions League, a Carabao Cup, I don't know. The Premier League we have won. Now, it was incredibly close with the blue side of Manchester. We won it by 5 points, so not tight, but, you know, 5 points isn't much, realistically. Sesko, your top goal scorer. The Ruben Amorim stubbornness. How many times have I mentioned Amorim? Quite a fair bit, sorry. But yeah, that stubbornness is going to come in once again. 34 goals. Odegaard, Saka, Camavinga, dominating the assists. Costa, second most clean sheets. Sesko, top of the ranking with the average rating. That is what I like to call the Arsenal season. And so far we have won the Prem 3 times. Not bad going. The FA Cup, we are going to lose 3-2 against Liverpool in the semis, where again, if we would have beaten them, we could have played Bournemouth in the final. Who have Bournemouth got in charge now? I am not even sure who that is, but do you know what? Fair play. They're getting the job done. And the Carabao Cup, we're going to lose on penalties. The first penalty shootout, we've been involved in the entire rebuild, and we lost it. Not a great record. But the Champions League, we are going to storm through the league phase into the round of 16, and we are going to blitz Galatasaray 8-1. Yeah, 8 goals to 1. Next up, we are going to go through to the quarterfinals, where we just about edge Man City 2-1. So again, we lose obviously a cup game against them. This may pay off to be a bit of a fair trade-off, as we are going to get in to the semis, and our second penalty shootout we win. And we actually did, I tell you what, that would have been a pretty, interesting game to watch actually. But we just get past Bayern, and we are playing a Napoli, who somehow beat Madrid, and we're playing them in the final. And I can tell you something right now, if you put Real Madrid, Bayern, and Napoli in a pool of who I want to play in a final, I'm going to say Napoli 10 out of 10 times. And we are off to Rome for the Champions League final, and we get off to such a good start with Camavinga cutting it back, driving inside, going alone, and lashing it into the bottom right to make it 1-0 inside of 18 minutes. Literally about 30 seconds after, Napoli have an absolute stinker. Great pressing from Declan Rice into Martinelli, who debuts the Champions League final, into Sesko, who is going to make it 2-0 inside of 19 minutes. And Napoli are not having a good time, as once again we go again a little bit lucky there to actually get the ball back from the failed set piece. Odegaard down the left, cut and back stick into Sesko, and Sesko is lighting up the Champions League stage. He really is. And I tell you what, Odegaard here on the ball, plenty of confidence, plenty of flow, into Yan Kuso, the new man, playing that lovely inverted role, and what a ball through. And Sesko again, a 4-0 lead on the biggest stage of them all, the trophy we need to win until this. Velasco, backstick, Costa goes on holiday, he goes to Jet 2, he departs. They find a goal back into the game, but it means absolutely nothing. Sesko running at the back line again. This man has paid his transfer fee well and truly, as we are going to be Champions League winners. That is right, we are going to be UCL winners, the Premier League as well. What a last season. That is absolutely beautiful to see. So it took us 6 seasons to win the Prem and the Champions League joint together, which is absolutely incredible in my opinion. Yes, you can argue that your mate Steve has done it in 2 seasons. I've done it in 2 seasons before, but you know what? It took us a little bit longer today. It is completely fine. And honestly, I think we've done well for the team. I mean, finance-wise, you've got a ton of money to spend. You've got 265 million with no net debt and basically very little transfer debt. You've got a team where you have got such a fluent front three. You can have Pedro, Martinelli, Saka, 26 and 25, 24 and 23. But then if you go down here to where Sesko is, yeah, 54 and 12. So Sesko has gone up a whole star. He's on the up in most of the attributes. He was the man that completed the Arsenal jigsaw. He was the missing piece, and we only replaced one of the wing-backs. Caliafori actually has been doing his thing, so fair play to him. If you want some general advice where I'd spend your money carrying on this rebuild, I probably would look to still invest in the wing-backs, maybe some more rotation midfield players. But apart from that, guys, you've got a monster tactic, literally, and a monster team. And that is going to bring me to say one last thing. Hopefully you have enjoyed. That is going to be Arsenal rebuilt, a 5-star reputation, a load of trophies, and a way to sign off. Yeah, that's me done for today. I'll see you in the next one.